It's the most hated question that I get now. Is the AMG running? Is the AMG running? Is the AMG running? Yes, it's running. You'll have to look at the beginning of the series to catch all the drama. But since we last left it, I hunted down some pistons and some new head gaskets. We had our transmission upgraded. Will it hold up? Well, we'll have to stick around and find out. Okay, so in the last video, I know I was being kind of a jerk, leaving you guys hanging, but if you actually zoom in on the engine behind me, it wasn't even close to being ready to fire. This engine takes about 45 hours to install, and it's no word of a lie, it's 40 to 50 hours to install this engine. There's a couple of reasons for that. The exhaust shop decided to put the catalytic converter right beside the bell housing and put the wastegate at the back here. Now, if I would have known that I would have pulled the engine a couple times, or I would have had to, I would have got them to redo that. One of those things like, okay, this is the last time, we'll just suck it up and spend the extra time to do it. What I have to do actually is put the engine as a short block up against the transmission, bolt everything tight, then lay the exhaust in place, then put the heads on, and then bolt the exhaust manifolds to the head. And then put all the other accessories and everything on it. It's not easy in any way, shape, or form, and it's very time consuming, and this is one of those projects, I'm not gonna lie, that I've lost all joy in working on this project. Looking at it, I'm super proud of what we've accomplished, but it's not done yet either. We have a long way to go yet with tuning and clearances and making sure things don't get hot and things don't melt, and we're not burning off coil packs and shorting out wires, whatever else, because everything is so tight. We got some nice new rims for it. I want to show you guys that. Let me know what you guys think about the rims. I think we're leaning towards the shiny 18-inch rims. I know that these are more of the purest rims, but we've pretty much just tore the whole car apart. It'll never be original again anyway. Keep in mind, it was never an original AMG. We would have never done this to an actual AMG car. We would have kept it original. It has a aftermarket body kit on it, and it was just a W124 wagon. With all the work that we did to the engine, you can appreciate a lot more when Petrolicious released their video on the Hammer. It was a $130,000 conversion back in 1994 to put the inline 8 or the 8-cylinder in the wagon and have it all correct. And I think it put out 430 horse, but we're nowhere near $130,000. Which in today's funds would have been closer to $200,000, but we are a lot higher budget than we originally went after, and a lot of it has been out of my pocket too. So again, we'll pick away at it, and we'll finish it up in the next couple weeks, but for now we'll just fire it up and let it listen, and then we'll go from there. So when I rebuilt the engines as an apprentice way back, I used to get nervous as can be, and I've never been that nervous again since starting this one again. It's not a nice feeling, because you should be confident in your work. It's just everything's gone so wrong with this thing. But anyway, let's see if she fires. So it's not idling, and that's probably the tune. It runs. It's all the smoke coming off of the exhaust again. So we'll definitely have to look at the tune again before we do anything. The tune obviously won't work because it's a 5.7 now instead of a 5.3. Wasn't idling there, but it does run. And I don't hear any oil hitting the floor, so a long way to go, but it's running. I was hearing a rattling in the valve covers too, so I got to pull that off and pull the valve covers again just to see what. It didn't sound 100% there either. Still got a couple weeks to finish this car. I'm picking away at it. It's running, it sounds good. I have to put the torque converter bolts on yet and fill up the transmission. And I would love to drive it down the road, but I got an email from the guy who rebuilt the transmission, and it said that he forgot to install some of the update parts, so I need to bring it back to him so he can drop the pan and install the last of the parts. Don't ask me how that happens. I don't even want to be involved with that. That's actually the main builder that the owner always uses, but whatever it is, we'll get it running and moving just off the hoist and probably on a trailer, and then it's going to the transmission shop, making sure that it's shifting and moving and doing everything that it's supposed to. All the line pressures are where they're supposed to be, and the transmission really has nothing to do with me. A couple other updates. I still have to clean up that whole corner, which at this point, I'm finally back on the clock again. I've lost a lot of money and a lot of time on this, a lot of Saturdays and nights and picking away at it. And it's one of these projects that mentally you have to be in the right state of mind to work on it. Talking to another customer today too, he had a car painted. The guy quoted him 6 to 12 months to do the entire body job on the car and paint it. It took him 3 years. He got the paint back and the paint was just crap. He goes, I love the car and I just lost all motivation to work on the car because I know it's going to cost me more money to fix the paint. I've lost 3 years, that whole run and stab at it and get this car done and driving. He goes, I find every excuse in the book to not work on the car. And I was in the same state with this. It's cost me a lot of time, a lot of sleepless nights, and that feeling, if you see me on the video, you get that lump in your throat like you want to throw up, because you know this is coming out of my pocket, and at the end of the day it's still not even on the road yet tested to see if like we're going to run into a whole bunch of other problems yet that we're going to figure out. And just that mountain you got to climb to get over it. Mentally, you got to get in the right state. The bolts, your fingers don't want to work right. The bolts, the nuts don't want to go on the studs properly. The bolts don't want to thread in the holes without cross threading. And the better thing to do is to just walk away, take a breather, and you got to focus. And so spend a couple days on it here and there, and then I got to walk away again. It's about 30 hours to put the engine together. Clean it all up. We ran into the issue with the 5.3 and the 5.7 block. It just seems that the whole car is fighting me the whole way. But it's not an excuse. It's just this is still a toy, and we run into things like this truck, which is a daily truck that the customer uses every day to make a living. I had to drop it again, and we had to pull the engine out of that, and we're rebuilding a 5.9 for him. I had to pull the engine out of another truck, pull the engine out of this truck. So that was basically my whole week, but that video's not ready yet. So I don't know if I got enough time to drive it off the hoist tonight yet. We'll see, but in the meantime, everything is back under the hood. So I have to adapt a lot of the Mercedes wiring to this yet and make sure that the dash is working. I just want to drive it off the hoist, wash the car, drive it around for a little bit. I have to bleed the brakes yet, and there's still a lot of stuff to do, but it is actually running and a little bit that much closer. So I know I'm rambling and I'm talking a lot, but it's just one of those things that you got to understand. It's not simple. This isn't like the Audi where if it doesn't look right or it gets hot and it burns a spark plug wire, we just replace a wire. It has to run proper. The whole point was to have a nice sleeper, but to have a nice car. At the same time, the car wasn't in that great a shape when we got it, coming from Japan. They lowered it, the alignment is way off, it was chewing tires, it needs brakes, the bumper was being held on by 2 self-tappers and 2 cable ties, so luckily the customer fixed the bumper himself, and I'm happy that it took him roughly 8 hours to make a couple brackets that fit it on, because then you can appreciate the amount of fabricating that's actually been going on in the engine. Things like the Audi, like it takes 40 minutes to pull the engine out of the Audi, and it probably takes an hour and a half to line it back up and put it in again. That's fun. This, spending an entire week putting the engine back in again, and it's just not as fun as it was the first time, is all I'm saying. All right, so I got the tune a little better now. Turn the fuel down, turn my idle up, and see if it fires. So I'm feeling much better about that. The jitteries are gone. It's running. I think I got a miss still on number 2 here, which is the second time. I replaced that coil already. I don't know what's going on there because that one's cold. Anyway, feeling much better about it. Stay tuned. It's not over. Here we go.